Wait, did he just voice reveal? Yes, I did. I'm sorry for this voice reveal being so sudden, but I'm just tired of using AI text-to-speech programs. And I had to redo this video like, 3 times? So I'll try to keep this as short as possible so I won't have to remake it again because of... But anyways, I hope you enjoy! For a reference point, I will not use any leaks beyond the second Metro sneak peek. That was an announcement, not a sneak peek by the way, because most of them are fake, and usually those people come up with excuses like, I wanted to see how people would react to those leaks. Dude, just look through the Reddit, someone has done it before, don't do this again. We will use this map as a reference point, but it tells me enough. I mean, we can't really review it. So the first leak that we have is this one, on which the community agrees on, is Stepford Central. Why do we think that this is Stepford Central? Well, because Stepford Central has already so many platforms, it would be a really stupid idea to add even more and naming them. I don't know how to call this exactly, so I'll just use naming to name those platforms platform 1 through 4. So instead they will name them with letters, which is quite smart. The second one is this sign. This sign is really helpful as Stepford Central is one of the not so many stations to have their own logo. The next thing we have is this image, and I think that this is Fourways. And we can see a train that is headed to Barton, and its number is quite interesting because in the next picture we can see this exact same number too. One thing I thought that before the official sneak peek was that this train probably started its journey at Stepford Central, continued to Fourways, which is this station, and then to Stepford East, which was this station. But there were quite a few things that did not make sense. For example, Stepford East. Even though I still think that this is Stepford East, it seems like that it's not, because the platform arrangement doesn't really match up. But I do think that the leaker might have done some errors when mapping out Stepford East. Maybe this is platform 2, this is platform 3, platform 1 is hiding behind this wall, and platform 4 is hiding yet behind another wall. And platform 2 and 3 will be bidirectional, while platform 1 will be serving eastbound trains and platform 4 will be serving westbound trains. And the thing is that this is the exact same train from the picture that we have just seen. Speaking of platforms, I have noticed a strange thing during the making of the video. SCR and the entire UK have one thing in common. They have the strangest platform naming system that somehow makes sense. See, platform 1 is usually for trains headed eastbound, like at City Hospital, because all trains at platform 1 depart towards Stepford Airport Central, while trains on platform 2 usually depart towards Willowfield, Beachley, and Stepford Victoria. This also applies to Edgemead, if you were to actually rotate it by 19 degrees, of course, because this doesn't match up. Edgemead's platform 1 is still for eastbound trains, and platform 3 is for trains towards Leighton, but the main entrance is also at platform 3, and that's how I noticed this strange thing. But back to business, if we were to apply this exact same logic to the Metro leaks, we can guess that Barton is east of Stepford. Now, there's this sneak peek, which the community thinks is Fourways, but I have enough reasons to tell you that this is not Fourways. First reason, look at that departure board. For me, this departure board could display two things: Stepford Central via Barton, or just Stepford Central arrival, which means that this is a terminating station and not Fourways. The next thing we have is this platform thing. Board, I don't know. Notice how it is again lettered and not numbered. The only station that has lettered platforms and not numbered platforms is Stepford Central for Metro. And I think that this leak was taken somewhere around here and this sneak peek was taken somewhere around here. The next thing we have is the station layout. I mean, it matches the Stepford Central that we have seen in the leaks. I mean, clearly there is no difference between this station and the other one. And the last clue that this is not Fourways is actually the R and W. See, a lot of people instantly guess that this is Fourways because R space and W would spell four ways. But that doesn't really make sense to me because those two letters are unusually large. Out of the all station signs that you can find on the platforms in SCR, they are not really that big. But this one is really big. But we are forgetting that there is this R and W. So I decided to brainstorm all the ideas that this R and W could be on, and I think I found a good answer. Let me explain. See, whenever a new station opens in SCR or a station gets revamped in SCR, usually there's always an ad praising that, like these ones. And my guess is that when Metro opens, Fourways will also be on an ad that you will be able to find across the entire SCR network. My best guess is that the developers are doing some tomfoolery with us. But who knows, maybe this is actually Fourways. Having that out of the way, we can come to yet another theory that no one is talking about. Look at this void at Stepford Central. It's kind of strange how the platforms abruptly end there and don't continue to City Hospital, because Platform D would be headed for westbound trains like Stepford Victoria. And when you look into Fourways, you can see that there's nothing out of this open cut roof. And when this leak dropped, I think that this void was replaced with tunnels because the developers were done with that area, which indicates that the Stepford City Zone is getting a major upgrade, or well, at least the scenery, because the last time it was updated was in 1.6. And also, if you look at James Street, it has some really good scenery around the station, even though it is underground. Inserting Metro to the network would lead to some really strange stop spacing. In the best case, we can get a mesh of all the stations and possibly even the lines to Benton and Morganstown. But that is quite unrealistic as of now. What I would expect is just a scenery upgrade and a new layout for Stepford. Because if Fourways would be inserted into the network, I would be able to see some sort of building sticking out of there and these tracks that would have been curving to the left, because if you drive from Stepford Central to Stepford East, after the April Fool's update, we had some new instances in the Stepford County. The construction sites between Stepford Central and Stepford East are honestly nothing I wouldn't have expected. Since we can't really start anything with those, we can go to the actual interesting parts. If we look at Coxley Newtown and this thing near Coxley Newtown, we can see that those are parts of the Metro construction sites, and near Berrily, Wellesmere Junction, I don't want to check it myself, you can find this gravel. Though I wouldn't really say that this is an actual important thing, because Metro has a lot of construction sites and there would have been some sort of Metro sign or like an actual indicator that Metro would be taking over this area. But there's nothing. For Coxley Newtown, I have 3 theories. The first one is that Waterline will serve the Coxley Newtown branch. It sounds strange, but Coxley is much more closer to Benton than to Stepford. Maybe Metro is removing this station and replacing it with something else. And in general, the distance between Coxley Newtown to Coxley is so short that a station wouldn't really make sense around here. My second theory is what the SCR community thinks. Metro will branch off somewhere near Coxley and make a loop around Barton and then return via the Morganstown branch to Stepford. Sounds good enough, but it doesn't really make sense to me. The third idea is that this is the actual Barton branch. To me, it would make much more sense to make something like this and not this. Barton will either be squeezed in between the Stepford main line and the Morganstown line, or it will branch off at the Morganstown line or at Angel Pass, or it will be just squeezed in between the two lines. This is yet another indicator that the Stepford main line and the Morganstown line can get a scenery upgrade in general. My best guess would also be that Metro will run the very important route from Stepford Central to Port Benton. As this corridor is very important and overcrowded, I think that putting Metro on it would definitely resolve some of the issues. But that was just me brainstorming, so yeah. And Metro will be taking over the Whitefield line, since the station signage at Whitefield has been removed, and the platforms have also been lowered to ensure step-free access from straight to train for the 777. We can confirm that the Whitefield line will be taken over by Metro, because it was always planned to be for Metro, and it just fits its style. Then we can have Metro taking over a few routes at Connect, like to Willowfield and to Stepford Victoria. I want to mention that the Stepford Loop is unlikely to release with the release of Metro, because Metro is bigger than I thought, and I think I'll be really satisfied when Metro releases in general. However, there's this branch at Beachley. I do think that these platforms will be repurposed for Metro, with 2 tracks continuing to Willowfield and the other tracks branching off to a possible new branch. But that is not Barton. Well, that's it from my side. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, and the only thing that can tell if I was correct was time. Bye!